How's everybody doing today? I'm B,
I'm T.
and this is
Our dream.
and Our Purpose.
Yes.
And what we're going to talk about a little bit today is, if you guys seen some of the videos, I've melted some different things. I've melted aluminum, I've melted copper, and I've made these cubes. And when I looked at these cubes, I thought it'd be cool to actually make a set of dice out of these.
Paradise.
A paradise.
Yeah.
And when we talk a paradise, maybe I make another one of the aluminum. Maybe I make another one of the copper. So we have a set of, or a pair of
Nice.
aluminum.
Yes, both of them.
Paradise for the copper. So that's what you're going to see today. Again, Our Dream.
Our Purpose.
It's our YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe. Time to do a little melting. I'm going to start with the copper, but I actually think I'm going to start with, I just put a piece of cardboard down in there. I've never had a problem with the crucible sticking to the bottom, but I've heard by multiple people just in watching videos that if you put it in the bottom, it prevents it from sticking. So we're going to start with the aluminum. So I've been adding just a little bit of aluminum. We're not looking for a lot right now, but I got the small crucible full, not small, smaller than I normally use. We'll get it out, clean it up, see if we can't make a pour. And this is really more about making the cube. So let's see how it does. All right. We'll let that cool. I actually have more in here. Probably made too much when I'm just focusing on the cube. So I actually might pour another one. We'll see, but let's get this back in the furnace. Let that stay warm. And let that cool. All right, so you saw me do the aluminum cube. I'm actually working on the copper now. I didn't show all of this. A lot of pours you can see in other videos, and I'll continue to do pours and show you as it goes along, because this is really about the cubes. We're really not focusing on how we're doing melting the copper, but it's like any of the others. Just have to get it in there. Try to be as efficient as we can about this. Start it back up, but before we start it back up, that was a cube. As we pulled it out, very clean, very nice. And again, let's see if we can't use this in our first one, make a pair of dice. All right, so again, I didn't show all of the melting, but this is really going to be all about the cubes. Let's go. Focus on the cube. Not a big fan of that, but not gonna get perfect every time. So we'll let that cool, see how it turns out. Hi everyone, I'm B. I'm back. As I mentioned, poured some cubes. Poured them just in previous videos and thought, you know what'd be neat to do. So poured an extra one. So we got a set of aluminum, set of copper. We're gonna make some dice out of it. So what we're gonna do today, I'm here at my dad's place. My brother's actually gonna help. I'm gonna introduce him shortly. And we're gonna mill these down to where it's a complete cube all the way around. You can see the height differences on them. This one here, we've actually worked on already just to try to test it out and see how it goes. So you'll see that's already flattened some, but we'll take a little more off that and then level the rest of them out. All right, let's get to it. This is my brother Jim. He's gonna do the machining work. As a young lad, I had the opportunity to work in this shop with these guys, but my knowledge by far is not even remotely close to what him and my father have. So he's gonna do the machining works, which leaves me safe. So we'll go from there.
Yeah, he says his knowledge isn't as good as me and my dad's. He went into woodworking, whereas we stayed with the metal. He makes beautiful cabinets. Don't let him fool you. Or he did. He's kind of old.
I can edit that part out.
I brought it down to the stock, and it's exactly where it was before. So the irregularities at the bottom aren't going to make a difference.
Perfect.
So now that we know where it needs to go, we need to find out how much more I need to take off. That's why I was measuring it earlier and he told me to stop.
I can edit that out.
I think that's going to be the catchphrase. I can edit that out. So we're looking for 1/565. That's roughly what your molds come to. So going top to bottom, we're at 690. So I've got about 120 thousandths to take off of it. I'm going to take another 800 thousandths. That should bring us to within 20 or 30 thousandths of the length we need, and we can minor adjust from there. So I say things like, I mean, you know this, but I say things like 50 thousandths. A 1/16 of an inch on a scale, on a ruler, is 62 thousandths. So I'm basically taking off less than a 1/16 of an inch.
It still seems like a lot for metal.
The tools themselves, some of them can take off. Like there are certain tools we have over here that Dad used for metal, and he would do 100 thousandths of a pass, 200 thousandths of a pass. It depends on the metal, it depends on the tool, how it's set up. So we're going to measure it now and find out what our length is again. Because they're on the edge, I missed it by 5 thousandths.
You should be fired.
For those of you at home, a piece of paper is 3 1/1000ths of an inch. So I missed it by the length of 2 pieces of paper side by side.
Thought you were better than that.
Well, I'm hoping my poor quality control will get me fired and I won't have to do this again.
Anyways, let's keep going.
Within 3 or 4 thousandths. So this adjusts the height of the table. Once I put this in place, I bring the table, the piece, up to meet the cutter. So now that I've got it set at 0, I should be able to take them all to the same length. So that mark is how much we have to take off.
And as I get better at pouring and understanding the level, we won't have to take off as much.
Right.
I over poured because I wasn't sure what I was doing with it. I was just filling the cube. But now if we know we're going to make more dice, which I think would be really cool to do, I know not to fill as much. So.
Let's just leave you right where you're at. So we're shooting for 567, 568. Three, 4 thousandths. Again, one piece of paper.
Thought you could get closer than that.
I can for the next one. I'm gonna slow it down a bit until we find out how copper's gonna mill. Okay, so the copper is smaller. The copper is 545, whereas that one's, the aluminum is 565. This may be where that shrinkage I was talking
It's
about.
hotter, so maybe
When it cools, it becomes smaller. So I may need to go back and take another pass to get it to the 545. Again, we got it within a couple of thousandths.
That's perfect. Nice. I just want to say a quick thank you. Anytime I need anything, Jim's here, helps out, and just a phenomenal job here. But also explaining what we're doing. That's a big part about this channel is we're learning how to do things. But this is something he's done for a lot of years. So for him to explain as we walk through it, it's a great thing for us. So we'll keep working on these. Next time you see, we should be actually drilling the little pits to make the dice. I'll clean up the sides and actually curve these over, and we'll see how it turns out. Thank you very much.
Really? That's it? Hit that like button and share.
All right. Now, I've got the pair of dice that we're working on. Got the aluminum and the copper. What I'm going to do here, I'm at a sander. I put a belt on. It's not as low as I want, 120 grit. I'd like to have a little finer, but I just don't have any in the shop right now. So I've got some on order. When they come in, we'll try that. But really what I'm going to do is just clean up the sides a little bit. I do need to round the edges. I'll do that a little bit, but not too crazy yet. I want to get the little divots drilled, and then we'll go from there. I'll do the same with the copper, clean those up, and we'll see how they turn out. Nice job cleaning it up. All right, did some of those again. I'll still do it afterwards, but it cleaned them up enough to where we can actually now put the divots in it. So let's try doing that. All right, so what I've got here is I actually made a template. I went online and looked at how the dice were set up, and basically what I got was this here, this template. I cut it out, I cut one out, and basically I went on here and I found a spot and I said, okay, that's number 1. That's number 3. That's number 6. That's number 4, 2, and 5. So I actually just rolled it around, marked on it so I know which sides. Means that when I set up the dot for the center, I can knock that out on 1, 3, and 5. When I set up the dots for the 2, I can knock that out on 2, the corners, and the corners for 5, corners for 4. So we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. I'm going to set up 6. I'm going to set up 5. And basically what I mean by set up is, let's scroll over to the 6. I'm going to line this up on 6. Get it most centered as we can. I'm going to try to mark them. I left little marks in there, and then I'll use those marks to actually line up on the drill press itself is really what I was looking for. I'll do the same for the 5 because the 5 has all the marks. Try that. We'll set up the press. All right, now we're at the drill press. And basically what I have here is I purchased this little vise, and the vise has a two-way axis on it, so I can go back and forth both ways. I got a little block in here so I can push the block up to it. It gives me a home point for each of the blocks. And now I've set it to where I'm going to drill my center hole. Now, I don't have my depth set, so I'll adjust it as I go. And then I'll take that out, flip it around. I'll do the 1, the 3, and the 5, which use the same center hole. I'll do it on all 3 blocks, and then we'll reset for the next hole and then go from there. All right. Now we're going to put epoxy in here, so the depth doesn't have to be perfect. But there is no reason to over drill. I think we're good to go on that. Again, we'll take this out. Now we got the 5. The 1 is going to take the same hole. All right, we'll repeat the process. So we got the center hole. We'll repeat the process for the rest of them. As we're doing this, these aren't perfect. They might be turned a little bit here and there, but I'm very happy with the way they're turning out. Definitely something that I'm very happy with, very comfortable with. So now we're doing the 6. I think that'll be good. So I got everything drilled. I'll clean them up and then we'll take them to the next step.
Here T is using UV light to cure the resin. She'll put layers on it, thin layers, cure it, then put another layer and cure it. Here's T putting resin in. Again, light layers. She'll let it dry, and then so she'll do multiple layers of it just to allow it to build up.
And then do this.
So here's the final product. Produce the dice that we talked about. A pair of dice in copper.
A paradise in aluminum.
And you know, it's something we enjoyed doing. It was a lengthy process. We poured them, we milled them, we cleaned them up, sanded them down, and then we drilled them, and then we epoxied them. So it's a long process, but we enjoyed doing it. We plan on actually doing this pair of dice for every different type of metal we do. We've got some bronze back there, and we've got some brass back there. Maybe we make those next. But thanks for watching. Remember, our dream, our purpose. Hit the notifications, the like button. Leave us any comments that you want to. Thank you very much.
Thank you.